Everyone, this is Elias with RevMatch Media. Today we are test driving the 2020 Mazda 3 hatchback. We've been waiting for this one for a long time and we're excited to bring it to you, so let's get started. Let's get started with this color. The polymetal gray metallic looks incredible. When this car was released, this was definitely one of my favorite things about this car. It just looks great. And we have the red sedan as well, and it's more of a like maroon color, but it's got this sparkle, a lot of depth to it, which the red was definitely a great choice, but I feel like this gray is just unbelievable. And when we come to the front, we can see these very sharp lines here that we have, a lot of sculpting, and that's what's great about the Mazda 3 and the new design language that Mazda has, is it's a lot of sculpting lines. So, and smooth lines at that. So we have these very sharp headlights here, one of my favorite headlight designs. Again, very clear, does the job done. This grille is incredible as well, nice and big, and it really is a pretty durable piece. It's on there. It's not one of those where you just kind of move a little bit and it's coming off. So definitely a great design here. It's just a very well sculpted front end, and I really dig this. Coming over to the wheels, because this is the premium package, we do have the 18-inch black alloy wheels. This is definitely the package you want to get. Not only does the design look great, but the black color really stands out well with the gray of the car itself. And they are wrapped in the 215 45 Toyo Proxies. These things grip a lot. It's a really good combination. Very little to no noise on the road. Lots of grip. That's the big thing with this. And you know, when we're talking about grip, we're gonna talk about the brakes as well. The brakes on this are incredible. The way that the ABS works in this, or the anti-lock braking system works in this, is incredible. Usually when you brake with a lot of cars and you're in an emergency case, or you know, you're just braking hard maybe on the track, the ABS kind of has this chatter that happens when it's wanting to, you know, let go of the brake, lock on, you know, grab again and lock and let it go, you know, it just does that. And it has this pulsing feeling, and it can be a little tough it just really teeth chattering sometimes. Not with this. This has a lot of incredible bite, and it's just slightly off the brakes when it feels it's going to lock up. So it's definitely a great combination. And again, with this car, it's all about the little components coming together in harmony and having a really good package. That's definitely what the Mazda 3 is all about. I know I'm gonna repeat myself a lot in this video, but this is probably my favorite part about this car, and it's just the side profile of it. It's beautiful, and you could really see a lot of the design language that Mazda has been implementing, and a lot of that has to be with that organic feel to it, and that's what this car has. Now, a lot of cars nowadays, we're seeing this sort of line here be a very harsh or jagged line. Not with this. You could definitely tell, so you can see there is a slight line here, but you could tell it's very organic, like someone got a sanding block to a block of clay and was shaping that by hand. So it's really a great design. Now, we still have some of our, you know, more jagged lines, which serve their purpose, but it's definitely a smooth looking and just a beautiful side profile. Probably one of my favorite things is definitely the reason why I love the hatch is because of this line here. There's just something about it that looks unbelievable. I have to confess, when I set this shot up, I was admiring it for a bit because this design line is just so incredible. Again, we have that smooth kind of block panel sanding design to it. And we come down to these taillights. I love the design of the taillights. They have a very aggressive design that works really well with the finesse of the body lines itself. Now, this is the iActive all-wheel drive model. And with it being the hatch, you know, we can open this guy up and it's got a lot of space. I thought with it being the all-wheel drive model that we weren't gonna have a lot of space because of the differential space that has to kind of kick this part up, but it doesn't. It's got some depth to it. Not like the S3 that Gabe had. That was surprisingly small because of the all-wheel drive system that really took up a lot of the depth of the trunk. So this is surprisingly good. Now, it's not as big as the sedan. The sedan was massive. I don't know how they were able to design that and have so much space in such a little car. So the cargo space, again, is a little bit on the smaller side. Not too bad though. The GTI, I think is smaller. I remember the GTI being a little bit smaller, so it definitely has its space, it has its depth, and yeah, definitely a very good usable car. When we look under the hood, we have the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder Skyactiv G engine from Mazda. Now, this guy isn't my favorite, so I know I had a lot of favorites, but I think it could do a little bit more work. So it has 185, 186 horsepower, as well as 185 or 86 torque. It's not the speediest, but it works very well with this package. So again, we're talking about this harmony, this design harmony, this, you know, just everything and being harmonious. It works well with this setup. It could work better though. Hear me out, Mazda. You released the Mazda 3, throw on a turbo because there's definitely plenty of space back there, which I think I know where you guys were going with this, but it works. Throw on a turbo on there and let's get it up to 200, 210 horsepower, and let's maybe even do a even better Mazda 3 special edition. Or Mazda Speed 3 plus more, so to speak, and let's get it up to 250. And I think you guys would have the perfect hot hatch with this, because it's definitely an incredible thing. So enough talking, let's go for a drive. So now on to the best part of this car. Well, second best, because I mean, I think it looks great on the outside, so the looks are definitely up there with it. But we get in the car and, you know, besides the finish, besides the look, besides, you know, just the design, it's an incredible car. It's very well done. You can see why this has been such a turning point for the Mazda 3, really. It's, you know, you get in and immediately the red just is like a mullet. It's definitely a mullet. It's business on the outside, so it's nice even with that gray color on the outside. It's very muted, but it still looks amazing, incredible. But on the inside, it's freaking party time. So it's got that cool duality to it, and that red just screams. It just looks so good, and it's comfortable. Sitting in this seat, it's not 100% big boy friendly, but it's telling me right in the right places where I have to watch what I'm eating, so to speak. But it's great. It really is hugging me. I love the feel of it, the shape of it, and the positioning. So what really feels amazing about this is the way that the seat, I'm able to position it really upright, you know, to be able to see, and, you know, kind of in a race seating position, so to speak. I'm not leaning super back, and it feels comfortable. That's the incredible thing. My back is really straight, but it is really hugging me, and that's one of the things that Mazda really took back and designed. They designed how a person sits. They designed around that, how to make you comfortable. Hell, if I had this chair as my office chair, I wouldn't want to stop working. You know, it's that comfortable, and it's that ergonomically well done. It's spectacular. So we're just getting started on just the seat. When we get to the steering wheel, it feels great. If you guys have ever driven a Miata, it's the same steering wheel. So, or it feels the same way as well. So I want to say it's a 4-door Miata. It's a 4-door MX-5. It feels great. Like the steering wheel feels incredible. The input feels great. Even though it's electronically controlled, it still has some feeling in it. It's not dead. It's not super heavy. It feels awesome. I love it. This thing is really good. And again, we have your ergonomic buttons here. Raise the volume, go to the next track, that stuff that you can control your infotainment system. So it's pretty good. We get to the back and we have the paddles. We have paddles in the back for the automatic transmission, because this is the automatic trim. The materials in here are unbelievable. Let's talk about I mean, we have the design on the outside that is it just has that hand touch, that custom, that's that finesse. And you come in here and it translates as well. It's got these materials, this leather, this red leather, and you can get them. I know the sedan we had was in white. I'm not a big fan of white, but it looked so clean. It looks so clean. And even with the little one, when he did dirty it with his feet kicking it, very easy to clean. So definitely a plus there, but the materials are second to none. Nothing feels cheap. Nothing feels cheap, which is incredible. And for $31,000, about $31,000, almost $32,000, this is a great bargain for what you're getting. It really feels incredible. This has the 185 horsepower, 186 horsepower, 2.5 liter inline 4 with 186 torque as well. It's connected to the 6-speed. This one's automatic with the iActive all-wheel drive system. This whole system works very well with this chassis. So that's something I don't really talk about, because this car stands out that much that I just have to talk about it. The chassis is so well balanced in this. It goes where you want it to. You feel things that you need to feel, and it's just a very well balanced chassis. It really is well done. And then you put the drivetrain in and it gets even better. The feel of it is, like I said, it's a Miata. It's a Miata with 4 doors and a hatch. So this one with the hatch. And that's what I said about the 4-door sedan that I got to drive. It is also a Miata with 4 doors. And that's a good thing. I mean, we have all of these racing series based on just that little guy. And there's a reason why. It's just so well done. And now we have, hopefully, with the current situation in the world, hopefully we can see this as a TCR or TC, I forget which class it falls under, that they had announced. And they're getting built, or they were getting built here in Austin. So unfortunately, obviously, with what's going on, it's a little unknown at the moment. But when we saw the pictures of it and the video, it was incredible. This thing, and they used the hatch version as well. It just looked mean. So we're excited, and hopefully that goes through, so we can start seeing those go up against the Civics, which we also love as well, the Civic SIs. But we come back to the car itself, the feel. It's there. Everything is so well done. And now one of the things I really liked about this is the not the manual transmission, but the manual mode in this. So a lot of cars, when you put it in your manual mode, and you accelerate first gear, it will shift for you, which that brings it back to just putting it in drive. It's not there. Not with this though. This, you're in manual mode, you accelerate in first, it will hit the red line. It will bounce off the red line or the limiter. It is not going to shift for you, which is great. That's what I'm switching over to manual mode for a reason, because I want to control the shifts. So that's definitely a great plus with this, and the tuning of the transmission. Now you can still put it in sport mode. So this does have a sport mode and a normal mode. You can still put it in sport mode and drive, and it's going to be a little bit in between. It's going to be a little bit of an aggressive rev hang, in the sense of it's going to hold on to that gear before it decides, okay, fuel economy is the more important thing, and switch. So that's still a good program. But when I'm in manual mode, like I said, I can really shift it to any, I'm in control of the transmission, which is great. One thing that was a little weird about it though is the shifting is slightly delayed. So the car redlines at 6,500 RPM, and you have to start shifting slightly before 6,000 with the paddles. There's two reasons for that. One is that slight delay. The second is that for some reason, when you're in manual mode, even though you're in sport mode, the rev limiter hits at 6,000. 6,000 in manual mode, even if it's in sport mode. It does not do those extra 500 RPMs that the tachometer shows you. It's really weird. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm not shifting it right, or shifting the automatic right, or something. But then I decided, let me put it in drive. So I put it in drive, and I, from a stop, I accelerate all the way, and lo and behold, the RPMs do in fact go all the way to 6,500 RPM. I was confused. I was really confused. So I'm not sure if that's expected, but I like those extra 500, especially when, the engine is probably in use, in need really of some power, a little bit more power, especially when you're trying to turn all four wheels. At the 186 horsepower, I mean, you could really go for maybe a good 20-30 horsepower, and just throw in a small turbo. Small turbo will definitely get it up there. And light tuning doesn't have to be, blow this 4-liter cylinder out of the hood, so to speak. Just small tuning, and then let tuners have fun with it. But set it up for that. And I'm hoping Mazda can really develop the Mazda 3 again, with, the option of the turbo on it. That's one of the things that I was a little confused about, but I can look it over. It's just a matter of making sure that I shift with my 6,000 RPM limiter when I'm in manual mode. This does have a heads-up display, which would be great to have a tachometer there. I'd be able to see how my revs are and be able to shift. That way I don't have to glance down, because it's a quiet car. It's a quiet car, and it's not the most, how do I say, it doesn't have the best sounding engine, or unique. I'll say that. It doesn't have the most memorable engine sound. So it is kind of on the quieter side. It doesn't have, again, a unique rasp or unique rumble. Fiat 500 Abarth. It doesn't have that. So with having a heads-up display, I would definitely love to see that red line on there. And it doesn't have to be on all the time. Switch it into sport mode, and that'll make it the active little bar. Could be like in the video games, literally just a little bar. Another thing that's incredible about this car are the brakes. The brakes are so good. And now I'm not even talking about the brakes themselves. It's really more about the ABS system. Yeah, I know, it's very confusing, but the ABS system feels really good in this. So, you know, you're able to really stomp on it, and it doesn't have that teeth chattering, you know, you feel the struts really just moving inside, you know, underneath you. It doesn't have that feel where it's just, you know, just freaking out and making the car just kind of, you know, rattle. It doesn't have that. It has a very good feel where it has a lot of bite, but it doesn't do the pulsing as much as it just kind of like releases just slightly to give you that ABS feel. So, and you feel the tires just slightly, not even locking up, but just the tires, the tires this has are super grippy. So it's helping that out. It's a very good system. Now, coming into the kind of the ergonomics of things, it's awesome. And the just the infotainment and things you have. Now the infotainment, so it has a smaller screen on the kind of away from you. It is about arm's length distance, just a little bit more. It's not a touch screen, which is a plus. It does have a little knob down here, which is what you use to control it with. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you know, the usual stuff. It does have a Bose system. It's okay. It's a Bose. I'm not a huge fan, but it is loud. It is loud. It's clear, but it's got its distinct. It has nothing. It really has nothing surprising about it. It's a sound system for this, which is a little let down. Then we come to just the AC controls. Very simple design. Nothing. Again, this is more of a driver. This feels like a driver's car. So you have that in there. We come down to the center console down here. Nice space for your phone down there. 2 cup holders. Your shifter, your sport mode button, your electronic brake. Yeah, I know. I wish we had a handle, but it is what it is. Auto hold is great. One of my favorite things to have in an automatic. For those of you that don't know, when you're at a stoplight, when you have that on, you push down the brake towards the bottom, so you really push it down, and the car is held for you at that light. So you can literally take your foot off and it will still stay stopped. So that's, again, one of my favorite features. And we have a little radio knob. So the radio knob is over here, which is pretty well placed. I can rest my hand in a pretty good position and change that stuff there. Okay, so we are going to stop the driving because I forgot to mention one really great feature about this. So we went to the dials, but we forgot to go a little further back. So this actually has an armrest that doubles as a wireless charger. Now you're probably thinking, why do I have my cable in there? Well, that's just because that is how I have it communicating via the USB port to do the CarPlay. But yeah, if someone else has an extra phone and it works well, take a look. There you go, immediately went to charge. And again, you just close it, you pull this up, and it's nice out of the way. Now the infotainment system, like I said, there's nothing big, nothing, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that's surprising, that's like, whoa, that's a cool feature, or that's something that I, see myself always using. There really isn't much, because you're probably having more fun driving the car than you are really playing with the controls on this. So it's not a a negative thing because you're so engaged with the car. You know, passenger seat, again, very comfortable, pretty big. One thing that this does lack is headroom. So I guess it's good I wore my orange beanie today. It is a little on the colder side today, because you can see that I can't fit my hand like this, you know, vertically on top of my head, because I am touching the top of the car. And this has a sunroof, so it's a little bit lower, but not by much, because if I feel the sunroof, I have about, I can put it, if I position over, I can put that. And that's not a good sign, because I'm not the tallest of guys. My buddy Mason kept wanting the car. He's like, oh, I need this car, I need this car. He goes, let me have it, let me have it. I said, you can't. And not because I don't own it, but it's because you don't fit in it. He's 6 feet. He would not fit in this. It's not that I don't want him to have the car, but he really cannot. I would definitely love to sell him this car, but he just wouldn't fit in it. And he would have to lean back. We would have to be in a lean back position to gain you more headroom space. So that's one thing that is a little weird with the ergonomics here. And it wasn't just myself, but my wife actually experienced it as well. When she got in it, she was wondering, why is this a little, you know, something feels different. And I said, yeah, put your hand above your head. And the first thing she did was that. She hit her hand on the top of the car. So yeah, it's a little low on that. Back seat's pretty big. Not many complaints back there. My kid's seat, as you can see in the back, fit fairly well. I did have to take the headrest off because, again, our seat really has a reclining angle that can be tricky if you don't have a back seat that can recline. So a lot of times we're having to adjust for that. And in this case, just a matter of taking the headrest off, which was pretty easy. Just fold down the back seat, which is it looks like a 60-40 split. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I had to do. And he loves it. He loves the feel of the car. He loves the red. You have plenty of space in the trunk. Now, what's crazy is the hatch is actually a little bit smaller than the sedan was in sense of cargo space. I had a lot of cargo space in the sedan. So if you really need the space and you just want the Mazda 3 and the great package it is, you're gonna want to get the sedan. If you're not needing too much cargo space and just plenty, I mean, I was able to fit 3 big boxes in the back. Go with the hatchback. It just looks cooler, I think. It has a cool look to it. Now, when we start comparing to other cars, we start dealing with, you know, the Honda Civics, the Volkswagen Jettas, even the Volkswagen GTI on the hatch sense. And I think those guys have to watch out. This is a lot of competition. This does a lot of things very well. So if we pair it up with the Civic is going to be cheaper. It's probably going to be faster when we start getting into the price range of about 30. But it's not going to be as refined as this is. Again, the materials are no expenses spared, really. It's above. It's at the Audi level. If we're comparing, you know, kind of the Volkswagen line, it would have to be more of the A3 when it comes to the, you know, A3 or when it comes to the materials. So it's definitely better than what Volkswagen can offer regarding quality, inside quality. And I know I'm gonna hear it. I know I'm gonna hear it from you guys, but even being a Volkswagen fan, I can tell you this is way better. This is way better in that sense. And so again, going back to the Civic was great. The Civic had a great feel to it, but this is a more refined car. It's not a little, but a lot better. You're gonna pay a little bit more for it, you are, but it's very well worth it. We take a look at the Jetta. The GLI is what I would pair this up against, and yeah, again, it's gonna be faster. It's gonna be a faster car. A couple of things I liked in that is the sport mode really made a difference. So I wish this made a difference and not just slightly more aggressive transmission, or throttle response is a lot sharper, but give me suspension. And even if it's the fake sound that Volkswagen puts through their speakers, give me that. So at least I know what I'm listening to, and I know, again, with the RPM shifts. So yeah, putting this up against the Jetta, I would take this. Plus this looks way better. I'm sorry, but that Jetta design, unless it's the GLI, it's not there yet, at least for me. And the GTI, again, we have, if you want to go into the all-wheel drive, you're looking at upwards of nearly 40,000, with the Golf R. Granted, it's a lot more car. It is definitely a lot more car, which is why I hope when if Mazda decides to go with a Mazda 3 and turbocharge this, that's gonna be what you're looking at. That's what you're gonna wanna be as far as performance goes, with just sheer accelerating numbers and horsepower numbers. So we have that, and this is just a really good car. There's not many faults I can talk about this car, because it's just a really good package, and it's a fun package. It's a very balanced package. So let's have a little bit of fun. And like I said, the brakes in this are really good, and you can barely hear the engine. And again, there's really no distinct tone to it, so I wonder if opening it up with an exhaust would give it more character. But the suspension just feels so incredible in this. Just the grip all the time, everywhere. It's just a very good package. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review of the 2020 Mazda 3 5-door or hatchback, whatever you want to call it. It's been a blast. I love this thing. It's definitely, again, just the overall package, the suspension, the chassis, the transmission. The engine needs a little bit more work, but overall, the design, the luxuries, just the materials, the attention to detail is there. Well, guys, that's it for now, and remember to find the right gear.